Hello everyone, my name is Antonio Rodriguez of Ideas South Flores, and today we will be covering the third section and final section of the music theory, which now will cover clef signatures and going into the circle of fifths, which now adds sharps and flats into it. Now this is the last part of the complexity of music. So we already did the top section, which is literacy, like in the English language, using A, B, C, D, E, F, G, very basic stuff. Then from there, now we went into the second video, which is all about durations and the complexity of rhythms and subdividing and subtracting durations of notes and how long to wait until you come in and how long do you play this note for, and specifically all those things. Now what we're going to talk about is the very last thing, which is adding sharps and talking about, well, what kind of notes will you be seeing within the music that y'all are given. So now let's bypass all of that information and go straight to the clef signatures. So where the clef signatures is, we're going to go to this little section that says time, and it says 4/4, 3/4, 2/4, and 6/8. So I'm bringing these up because in the last video, if you watched the rhythms, we talked about how the notes, they were just descending, and then from when they stopped descending after one, they started subdividing and cutting themselves into twos, having. That's all music really is. Okay, so now we're going to be given pieces of music all of the time that are going to be telling us different types of note lengths, how long things are going to be played, and of course the style of the music. I will give you an example just by pulling out just some type of music that I have just lying around. Okay, let's take this. Okay, so for El Relámpago, this is the piece that we'll just be looking at really fast. This one is in 3/4. Okay, so that means that there's only going to be 3 beats for every single little bar line that separates. So that's one bar of 3 beats. Then you see the line, then another bar of 3 beats, then the line, then another bar of 3 beats, and so on. Now, of course, this music is very complex. It has a mixture of 8th notes, a mixture of 16th notes, and all that. But if you see right here, it does have quarter notes and a quarter rest. So this is easy to show you that there's that 1 beat right there, a quarter note, which is another 2 beat, then the last quarter note right there, making this full 3 beats in this measure. And that's the reason why it's 3/4, just to signify to everyone that. Okay, now let's get back into the reading notes and music notation. You would never see a whole note in a 3/4. Why? Because there's only 3 beats. Having a 4th beat one would be, what? That would make no sense, because it would go over the lines and it would actually confuse many of the musicians, because if they saw a whole note right here, it would bleed in, because this is only 3 beats worth of music. But with a whole note, it would want to do 4 beats worth, and it would bleed into the next measure, but that's not the way the music's supposed to go. Okay, so if it's in 3/4, you're not going to even probably see any more of these whole notes. If it's in 2/4, there's only 2 beats now, so you're probably not going to see any more. Well, for sure you're not going to see any more dotted half notes. And then if there was such thing as a 1/4, then you wouldn't even be seeing the half note. But there isn't really a 1/4, because that's, as you can see, once you do that, it's just making it more complex. So 4/4 is equal to 4/4 beats of music in the stuff. So a bolero would be 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? It's just the very, very basic stuff. And if we were in 3/4, the style of ranchera valseada. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if we were to do 2/4, which is a polka or ranchera in mariachi, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. And like I said, if we were to have a 1/4, that would be like. everyone's just playing all at once, and it's not really even music, it's just hitting something. Okay, so having 4/4, 3/4, and 2/4 time signatures is a great way for you to be able to find what type of style you are even playing. Now let's go a little bit step further, and you're gonna see 6/8, which that just means that you're just having, once again, so 3/4 is the same thing as 6/8, but 6/8 is meaning that it's gonna be a little bit more complex and a little bit more fluid. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But it's all categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the reason why it's called 6/8. And we'll usually only see those in like songs, and very hard music. So that's, like I said, it's gonna be one that we listen to and have to go to. But all the most basic songs that we're gonna be seeing are gonna be in 4/4, 3/4, or 2/4, and they're very, very basic things. Now, the next thing that we're going to get into now is finally going over the circle of fifths. But before that, let's first understand the keys first, and to be able to understand that, we need to understand, well, what is sharp and what is flat. Now, in all the past videos, I was showing you just a C scale on just nothing but the white keys. Beautiful, right? Now, let me just choose another note that doesn't start on C, and you'll hear it's gonna sound weird. Right? Because technically that isn't supposed to be playing. Once you start on another note that is not C, then you're gonna have to start seeing, well, does it have any sharps in the key? Does it have any flats in the key? And that is when we get into the complexity of adding all these different hard fingerings on your specific instrument, or even the piano, the black keys. Okay, so that is what we're going to get into right now, and understanding that. So the difference between flat and sharp, so this is C, this is C flat, this is C once again, and this is C sharp. So as you see, sharp raises it, so C, flat, well, sorry, not flat, but it's just C natural. Then you're going to do C sharp, which raises it. Then back to C. And now we're going to lower it, or flatten it, which is C flat. And it's going to be pointing down, no longer just C, but C flat. Okay, so flattening it means just lowering it, sharpening it means raising it. Okay, but no matter what, those are still the notes. You're just now either going to change the fingering to raise it in pitch or to lower it in pitch, as to, of course, play within the key of whatever music that you're doing. Now, the circle of fifths is super important, super important. The reason why is because all basic instruments are labeled off of it. So if we were to dissect a violin has 4 strings, and if you look right here, the first string is G, which is the first key that has the first sharp. Then you have the key of D in the circle of fifths, which is the second string on the violin, which now has 2 sharps. Then the third string on the violin is A, which has 3 sharps. And then the fourth string on the violin is finally E, which has 4 sharps. So as you see, they're already labeling their instruments based off the circle of fifths, and that's how it works, because it's much easier whenever things are based off in fifths. Because even in music, do, so, do, that is the most common thing that you want. And do to sol is a fifth. Okay, so have you ever seen that movie Superman? That first thing, that's a fifth. So do, sol, we need to make sure that all the sols are being played. So if you're an armonia player, it's super helpful to learn the circle of fifths correctly. So going from C to G, then G to D, right? You're just climbing up the circle of fifths and adding an extra sharp. Extra sharps. Okay? Now, if you're wondering, well, how do I know what note is going to be sharp? So, let's just do this first. The C scale, as you see, it says a 0, nothing. I don't have to worry about any of the black keys. Now, what I'm going to have to do, if I want to go to the G scale, now it's asking me to play a sharp. The easiest way for a musician, this is a little tip I haven't told y'all about yet. All you have to do is take the 7th note, or technically the last note of whatever scale that you were just given. So we're going to do G right now. So I'll show you the 7th note of G. That is going to be the sharp note. So if we were technically doing C, and then we were going to sharpen it, and for some reason if C had a sharp, then that sharp would be B sharp. Okay? So we're in the key of G. Now right here, to the 1, it has 1 sharp in it, but I don't know what that sharp is. So let me first start on the G scale on the piano and walk up. G, A, B, C, D, then the E is 6, then here's the 7th. Now I'm going to press that black key to add the F sharp, 7, and then this is the last note, the 8th note, returning back to G. So and that's where the sharps start to come into play. So now if I were to play the D scale, I start now on the D note. Now I have to do 2 of the sharps. So now on the violin, or on the piano, you're gonna see me now play 2 of the black keys. And so on. So what the hard thing is about the circle of fifths is you must learn all of your keys, all of your scales, and get really confident in all the T's, or the 7th scale degree of your scales, to be able to know what sharp it is and to know all about the scales. Now, of course, you don't have to go over all of the circle of fifths. This is, of course, music theory, so that's why I just put it out there. This is what university students see. But what we're going to be doing in mariachi is starting mainly on C and going to G, D, A, and possibly E, and sometimes even F. So we go even to the flat side, but it's very uncommon. But we will see that stuff. So that is all that I have about the whole information of the music theory. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and of course come back to these videos anytime y'all need help on all this stuff. Thank you so much, and that is the music theory portion.